city of Johannesburg experienced devastating flash floods on Wednesday that claimed 6 lives. A 3-year-old girl remains missing in Alexandra. Property and infrastructure has been damaged. Cars have been washed away, and close to 200 families have lost their homes in Setwetla, Alexandra, which has been the worst affected area. In situations like this, generally the poorest of residents are most affected. The executive mayor of Johannesburg, Herman Mashaba, says this is something that has to be addressed during his term of office. He has also reassured residents that his office is doing everything possible to assist communities and to ensure that those affected are given emergency assistance. Joburg today is Mpoma Shekho, and our camera crew is on ground at the Joburg River in Alexandra.
Yesterday's floods in and around the city of Johannesburg has left some residents homeless, while others are still picking up the pieces. Some are still looking for a 3-year-old right here in Setwetla, Alexandra.
From yesterday, it was very hectic. Emergency management services had to respond at the N3, closer to the Lakesfront off-ramp, where there was just havoc. Over 150 cars stuck, and while doing search and rescue, we found that 2 people had died. We went back this morning to check there any more that were unaccounted for, but fortunately they were not. And now we are here at Setwetla, where a 3-year-old child has been reported missing after the shack was flooded and mother had to take rescue on a tree and the child slipped. Our rescue technicians, our swift water technicians have gone inside the water. It's been over 5 hours now. They're searching the water and parts of the riverbanks to find it, to see if we can't get the child.
An emotional Mr. Mabela was explaining to the mayor how he lost his grandchild.
Tell us, how are you feeling at this moment? I mean, you just lost your house and there is literally nothing left.
Hey, ke feel bad because ke feelela le bana ba bana ba dula mo ka bona hore dilo tsa bona ba di a tsamaya ga botse ka gore ba lathetswe ka be ka lathelwa ke ngwana o tee ka mo ke ena a thokofetseng.
So, and then ke ngwana
o monyane wa 3.5.
I caught up with the mayor to ask him how the city is going to deal with this disaster.
I've just had a briefing at Senton Fire Station with our emergency services, the police, and with the MMC to address the immediate situation. So they're going to be drawing up a plan to look at the needs of our people, how many people are affected, and come out with a plan. We have to, unfortunately, as a city, we need the engagement and the cooperation of the provincial government. In fact, for me, we even need the national government to assist us to provide housing, short-term housing for our people with immediate effect.
I'm Mpoma Shekho for Joburg Today.
I chatted to meteorologist Simon Gear for some feedback. Simon, the city of Johannesburg has been experiencing the worst droughts, the worst in 3 decades. And yesterday we reached a point of total devastation with the flash floods. What is going on?
I think this was the first really big storm that we had of the season. And so what that often means is that a lot of the stormwater drains are blocked with debris from the last sort of 6 to 8 months or so. And where we saw the flooding down on the Galulies interchange and that sort of area is right where the Joburg has come out of that Hillbrow Ridge area. And it's the first time it really sort of encounters a blockage. And so I think we probably found that that is where the Joburg broke its banks initially because of that initial rush of water out of the catchment area around the built-up areas of the Hillbrow Ridge.
Sure. What does this say about Johannesburg's stormwater drainage? I mean, can it actually accommodate heavy rains of this nature of what we experienced?
It was an exceptional storm. And so certainly with the early storms in the season, we do expect these sort of things to happen. It's very unusual. Certainly in the 20 years that I've been reporting on weather in Joburg, I think this is probably the heaviest flash flood that I've seen. But it does mean that we do need to pay attention to the state of our stormwater drains and making sure that they are kept clean ahead of the season.
We are seeing warnings all over social media, on the internet, that we can expect more storms today. But I think the question on everyone's mind is, why were we not forewarned of yesterday's storm?
Well, I think we were. There wasn't necessarily a warning of severe rain, but there certainly was a warning of a thunderstorm expected in the afternoon, and there is expectation of thunderstorms all the way through the rest of this week. One thing we do find is when we've had very, very hot conditions like we've had in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and then you start getting an influx of moisture, that is when you get the really big thunderstorms happening.
So that's a scientific explanation.
Well, it is. It's an explanation for what we would expect in those conditions. From a longer term point of view, you mentioned this being a drought period, and you're quite right.
Yeah.
And one of the things we do see over a long extended period is it's during the drought years that we see the biggest thunderstorms.
Sure. I mean, I was totally devastated. I literally made my way to the highway yesterday, and I was wondering if I was going to get out of it alive. It was very traumatic, especially when you're actually stuck on the highway, bumper to bumper. It's like there's no escape, and the hail is just pelting on your car. Fortunately, I got off at Houghton off-ramp and made my way home via a back route. But give us advice as to how to prepare for storms of this nature now that we know that there's another potential storm coming today.
I think we typically expect these storms to build in the late afternoon, and so I think staggering your work time, get into the office a little bit earlier so that you can hopefully leave round about 3 maybe, to spread out the traffic a little bit more so we don't have that intense rush hour. That would be a good plan. Or alternatively wait it out. These storms tend to be short and sharp. You know,
Sure.
we're talking about 30, 45 minutes of
Yeah.
rain and then it eases. And you know, rather than a sort of long extended period of wet weather. And so it is the sort of thing that you can wait out.
How long are we going to be expecting more storms of this nature?
Certainly scattered showers are forecast through the weekend and into the beginning of next week. Whether they will be as severe as what we saw yesterday, it's a little bit difficult to predict, but certainly there is still rain about.
But people should just be cautioned.
Well, I think be aware, yeah. But I don't think that's it's necessary to panic necessarily.
Yeah.
But just be aware and try, as I said, to maybe stagger your trip times home to maybe avoid the very, very peak traffic periods.
Thank you so much.